Hey friends, happy Monday to you. It's gotten cold here in the mountains and it's going to get colder. So I'm going to feature these flowers right here while they're blooming because, things are coming up and they're beautiful. We're going to have a hard freeze in the next few days and that'll cost us some flowers and some fruit. So bummer. But right now, goodness gracious, they're beautiful. So I'm enjoying that. I've got an unusual kind of Monday music for you. I'm going to send you some phone video I shot at the White Horse last week. It's not super high quality, but it was a really special thing that happened last Tuesday night at the open mic. These days, my life is full of a lot of things. I've been serving on the board of 3 different organizations. One, my own nonprofit, PEG Partners. Actually, I'm not officially on the board, but heavily involved in the work of PEG. And now, I've been on the board of the White Horse Black Mountain, which we've been trying to keep afloat, and got some fun news about that in the next couple months. But then I'm also working with an organization called Faith for Justice in Asheville, led by Tammy Forte Logan. And all of this is rich work and matters to me, and none of it is paid. And I'm really grateful to get to do it, but it's keeping me pretty busy these days. And in the midst of all that, really cool gigs and interactions with folks. This weekend was the Porch Gathering in Montreat that Gareth Higgins and Brian Ammons put on. Just amazing. They call it a slow conversation about beautiful and difficult things, and it lived up to that billing. And then I did a folk show at a UU church out in Franklin, North Carolina yesterday, and that was a joy. This Friday I get to meet with the board of SDOP, Self-Development of People, which is a branch of it's a project of the Presbyterian Church. They're having a board meeting in Montreat. I get to spend a little time talking with them about how change happens. So all that to say, life is kind of full to overflowing, but it's rich. It's really good. These are good days for me, and I'm grateful. So last Tuesday night, I went to the open mic to try an experiment with my friend Terry, also known as Stoneman. Terry is a Cherokee storykeeper and a fascinating guy, and we've known each other casually for a long time, but recently I think have become actual friends. And a couple weeks ago, he came and sat in the living room with me and shared some stories while I played music underneath those stories. And this time we thought we would try that with an audience, so we did it at the open mic. And I hope you'll enjoy this story from Terry with me playing guitar underneath. Y'all take care. I look forward to seeing you real soon. This Thursday at 8 p.m. we're doing a Zoom hangout, and I'll be sending you information. So we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.
Before starting this next story, because I don't know how many of you are aware of this place we live on called Turtle Island and how the people lived hundreds of years ago. You may not know what a longhouse is, and I'm sure some of you do. A longhouse was probably as wide as this stage and probably long or longer than this building. And within this longhouse, made of curved tree branches and tree bark to cover its sides, inside would be a large family, an extended family, uncles and aunties, grandparents, and there'd be a cooking fire in the center, maybe more than one fire if it was a really long house. Well, the story I'm going to share is about a happening, something that really happened a long time ago in a longhouse of the Iroquois Nation. In the longhouse, there was a man who was a leader. People had much respect and regard for the decisions that this man made for the people. And this man had a family, a son, and a very old, aging father. Winter was coming soon. And the man noticed that his father was a burden to the people. He was getting old. He could not hunt anymore. He was having a hard time getting dressed. He had to be fed at times and was never really able to help with chores around the longhouse. He was really extra weight. And winter was coming and food was very scarce. So the man looked at his father and called him to the side. And he said, "Dad, I've been thinking." And they talked about this thing. They talked about it in silence. The old man understood because the decision was made to send the man away. Send this old grandpa away to the west. When you are sent to the west, that is the place, that is your ending place. You are sent to the west. So that evening, around the fire, the leader, the man got up and he said, "I want you to know that tomorrow I will send my father to that valley, 3 mountain ranges to the west. I will send my father there to live his final days." The people could not believe that this man would send his own father on this final journey like this. So the next morning, people gathered around to watch the old man leave. And the father, the leader of the people, he looked at his father and he looked at his elder son. And he said, "Son, come, accompany your grandfather to that distant valley. It's a long journey. And before you go, take this deer skin blanket, a big blanket made of several deer hides. He said, take this deer skin blanket because the nights are getting cold. And your grandpa, he will be comforted with this deer skin blanket." The young boy did not want to accompany his grandfather on this final journey. He really was angry that his father was making him go on this journey with his grandfather. But he took the deer hide blanket and he and his grandpa walked down the trail. It was several days later that off in the distance the man could see his son returning, and the boy had something in his hand. As he got closer and closer, the man saw that the boy was bringing the deer hide blanket back. He was quite confused. As the boy came, they embraced, and the man said, "Son, I'm glad that you have returned safely. But I told you to leave that deer hide blanket with your grandfather." And he said, "Oh, Father, I cut the blanket in half. I left half with grandfather, and this is the other half." And the man said, I don't understand. Why would you do this?" And he said, "This half is for you, Father, when I have to take you on that journey." Set no